Welcome to Con Carne, part of the Q101 podcast family. I'm James Van Osdell, and Con Carne is presented by Alex Ross Art. You should go to alexrossart.com and just see all the covers, the pages, the paintings that Alex has been doing for the big comics publishers, DC, Marvel, everyone. His stuff is so good. And besides keeping up with his work, the physical images on his website, alexrossart.com, you can catch up with him in the studio on his very own YouTube page. Here's Alex to tell you more about at the Alex Ross Art.
Hi, this is Alex Ross. I appreciate you guys supporting our YouTube, and we create new content every week. I hope you will continue to support us, and please subscribe.
It's Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Osdell.
When it comes right down to it, I think we take a lot of things for granted, like breathing. I'm teaming up along with this podcast, Con Carne, with the American Lung Association to help save lives. I'm recording this in the second week of February. Mere weeks remain until the Oak Brook Fight for Air climb. What we're going to do, we're going to go as a team, we're going to get together and we're going to climb the tallest building in the Chicago suburbs, the Oak Brook Terrace Tower, in the effort to raise awareness and raise money for the American Lung Association. I'd love for you to participate. I've been dying to do something like this for the community with Con Carne. For more information and to get yourself registered, go to fightforairclimb.org/Chicagoland. Because you watch Con Carne, because you listen to Con Carne, you can use my code. This is such a podcast thing, isn't it? Check out my promo code, Carne, C-A-R-N-E, at checkout, and that is for $10 off your registration. It's already pretty low, and again, it goes to a great cause, but you can take money off with my promo code Carne. So we're doing the Oak Brook Fight for Air climb on Sunday, March 10th. Again, the Oak Brook Terrace Tower. And then when that's done, we're going to hit up Soldier Field and do it there. Find out more online. I would love to see you on March 10th in Oak Brook. I'll see you on the stairs. Con Carne, also sponsored by Easy Automation, easy-automation.net. We hear a lot about smart homes. Have you thought about it? Have you thought about how awesome it would be to have a truly smart home? A smart home connects virtually all of the tech inside your home. With an Easy Automation installed smart home system, you and your family can control nearly every device and system in your house in ways that are easy and fun to use. Get connected. Make your home smart. Level up this year. Easy Automation. Call my guy Dan. Please call Dan. His number is 630-730-3728, 630-730-3728, easy-automation.net. Okay. That's fair. All right, shall we begin? I think we've already begun. Anyway, it is Con Carne, a podcast that is part of the Q101 podcast family. I'm in the parking lot of Gene Jude's, which is such a dependable go-to for food, cheap eats. To my right, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, or you can imagine if you're just listening on your podcast player of choice, Rami Atassi is to my right. He is a Syrian-American creative producer, guitarist, music teacher, and what caught my eye about you, Rami Atassi, this mention in Chicago Magazine. For Rami Atassi, sonic inspiration extends far beyond the city's borders. He has amassed an eclectic range of influences: desert guitar, jazz, Tropicália, samba, Arabic folk music, and Afrobeat that populate his music. But wait, there's more Rami Atassi. The Chicago Reader says Rami Atassi sounds like what might happen if you had a left-field mix of psychedelic and jazz artists, Mdou Mokhtar, Wes Montgomery, Cave, the Natural Information Society, in your blunt rotation. So based on that, I listened to you, Rami Atassi. No one's making music like this. You've got, which is to your credit. It's okay. You've got a place. You've carved out a place for yourself in the landscape, and the sonics in what you do are coming from all over the musical landscape.
In a way they do. Yeah, I actually was just talking to a friend today about, they were listening to the record for the first time, and they were like, hey, send me this thing because I want to hear it. And they said it was very eclectic. And then the other thing people ask is like, how do you do it live? What do you do live? You know.
Well, and your band is the Cosmic Dance Band.
That's right. Yep, that's the group. Yeah, and that's what, and it just really comes out of like the improvised music tradition. So but yeah, there are a whole lot of different sounds. I've always been somebody who just listens broadly to a lot of different kinds of music, I don't intentionally sit down with a mindset to kind of fuse any one thing together. My creative process is more like I make a lot of sketches and a lot of demos, and when I'm doing that stuff, I'm not really thinking much. I'm just kind of doing the thing, and then later I come back and be like, okay, how can I assemble these? How can I put these together? How can I arrange them? What fits with what? So that's kind of how I go at it.
One thing that I've always perceived as being incredibly difficult to find, and I know I don't know enough about jazz and improvised music, but finding players who you can riff off of in front of an audience.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like that'd be very difficult to find people who you could like mind meld with.
Oh, for sure. Well, in a place like Chicago, it's easier than you might think in terms of like it's a really big pool. And then, if anything, I find like the connection, like there's always, so with the people that I play with, there's always a really strong musical connection that is kind of like, it's different than like when you have like romantic chemistry with somebody, but it's a type of chemistry where there's not a lot of maybe discussion. We don't always talk that much about the music. The music just clicks, but then like the ones you end up playing with the most are the ones who are actually like, you become friends because they're like a good hang, like they're fun on the gig, when stuff goes weird at the sound check, they're cool to be around, you know what I mean? So like, I think the musical clicking hasn't been too hard for me just because we're so lucky to like have all these great musicians that you can play with.
Sure.
But then sometimes it's like hard to find people that show up to the gig and stuff.
Who are willing to commit.
Exactly. Well, yeah, or even just like every musician is kind of like running their own little like business of one, so like everybody's got a lot of gigs and a lot of things that they do, so I just you want to be respectful of people's time, but also it takes a bit of effort to get some music together. So
Dancing Together is the most recent.
That's right. Yep, that's the record. Yep.
Yuma Soul and Salty Sea on Dancing Together, I swear there are hints of like mid to late 1970s David Bowie sax sounds on that.
Oh yeah, totally. I can hear that. It's really funny, like so I play with a bunch of the sax players, but there's really two main ones in the Cosmic Dance Band. There's Luke Mosley and Eric Novak, and Luke. So Luke is the one who plays the sax on Salty Sea, and then Luke and Eric, they play together. Or Luke plays the sax on Yuma Soul, and then Luke and Eric play together on Salty Sea. And Luke in particular has this really, and I've heard this from some of my friends who are musicians or whatever, they listen to music, they talk about these sax sounds, that he's got this really smooth, warm kind of 70s sound.
Yeah.
And it's like that. Yeah, it's like that for sure. Bowie is a good point of reference.
And then there's Garden Song and San Cristobal, which sound like tumbleweeds out of the American South.
Yeah, totally, man. It's like those tunes are just. Well, I also felt like I when I play with the band live, I like to do the more upbeat, like kind of danceable ones. But when it comes to making a record, I feel like even with designing a set list or something, like the principle of contrast is good. So I like those tunes for just having like more space and being able to like take things to a different. Just a different like sonic environment, you know what I mean? Just less thick, maybe.
And when I say all over the musical map, so we go from those two kind of twisted cowboy songs to Great Plains, which suddenly hits with Arabic vocals.
Oh yeah, well, and we had like this is like there's only a few things I found that are good, like have come out good. That have come out of TikTok, being on TikTok, that have been good. But one of them has been meeting this singer, Pri. I'm really into. So she's a South Indian classical singer. So she sings like in the Carnatic style, and I'm really into.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh yeah, I could tell you about that if you want to know. Well, so like in Indian music, there's kind of two like main styles. There's like North Indian and South Indian, and they share a lot of the same vocabulary. But South Indian is the instruments are like a little different. So like South Indian is more really like vocal focused, like a lot of vocal and like a lot of violin. Violin's the main instrument. And then North Indian is like when like Ravi Shankar and like the more like the sitar and the sarod, where it's in a way the North Indian has had more of an influence like on rock music, like what's that Beatles tune, like Tomorrow Never Knows or whatever, those kind of textures. so she sings in that style, and I love that vocal style because I took some training, not as a singer, but like I took some training, some classes and stuff in the Carnatic style to put it on the guitar. I do slide guitar, and like I was kind of ripping off all the Carnatic tricks. And so we found each other, I should say, on TikTok and started like talking. And I was like, hey, would you sing on my record? She's like, yeah. And it was great. And then I got a DCase grant for the record to like finish it, which was so nice.
Oh man. Yeah,
it's really helpful. DCase is awesome. And then so I was able to fly her in like for the release
cool.
show and stuff. You know, it was great. Yeah. That's Department of Cultural Affairs. Like they just have this really great grant program for individual artists, so they hooked it up.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, I said Arabic vocals. That was a mistake.
It is like the South Indian style. Yeah, there's definitely an Arabic. So like, there's a big Arabic influence in my music. I'm half Syrian. My dad's from Damascus, and so on that track there is oud, which is like the traditional Arabic instrument. Ronnie Malley, incredible player and one like my Arabic music teacher, so he plays that, so it gives that really Arabic sound. But then she's a South Indian singer.
Yeah, I totally made the wrong leap there.
Oh no, it's there's so many different styles.
There's so many different styles.
You know how that is.
All right, so here's the thing, Rami. We're sitting here in the parking lot of Gene and Jude's.
Yeah.
I have a message to share.
Okay.
Which will probably take me 30 to 60 seconds.
Please.
If you want to sneak a bite of a hot dog as I do it, now's a great time.
Oh, yeah, I will. I never have.
So as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I'm teaming up with the American Lung Association to help them save lives. It sounds implausible, but here's how we're doing it. We're going to climb the tallest building in the Chicago suburbs, the Oakbrook Terrace Tower, and then Soldier Field. These are the Fight for Air climbs. And the Oakbrook Terrace Tower climb it's coming up. It's on March 10th, which is a Sunday. The indoor experience is customizable. Climbers have the choice of going up the 30-floor stairwell once, twice, 3 times a stairwell. Get yourself registered. fightforairclimb.org/Chicagoland. fightforairclimb.org/Chicagoland. And we want you to participate. We'd love to see you there. I'd love to see you there at the Oakbrook Terrace Tower. But if money's tight, but you still want to contribute, you can still participate. I'll give you $10 off if you want to register using the promo code Carne. That's such a podcast thing, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Use my promo code Carne to take money off, courtesy of the Lung Association. I will see you on the stairs. And here's the remarkable thing. In short order, Rami Atassi did a magic trick in the car. He made the hot dog disappear.
Had half
you only had half. I thought you went through everything.
That would have been wild, man. It's too fast for me.
I would have been very impressed. Did you get the one with the fries or without?
I got the one without.
Oh damn! I got you fries.
Oh, that's okay. Actually, I would skip the fries anyway.
Oh, okay.
So, yep.
All right. So again, Dancing Together. We can listen to that on Bandcamp. Is there a physical copy?
We have some CDs, but yeah, I kind of say find it on the internet, and you can always buy CDs off the Bandcamp though, for sure.
Where does your group, where does Rami Atassi fit in the Chicago music scene? You have a show coming up at Robert's Westside in Forest Park on March 15th. What's your place? What's your experience been navigating through?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I could talk about the show and what we're doing there, but I'll do that in a minute. I'll tell you more about maybe kind of where it fits in for me. So I came here for college, so I was like living in the city, and then I started playing in indie rock bands. But I was always really into jazz. Like that had been something I was always into. But I would play in these indie rock bands because it was just like it was fun. That's how I met people, and it was just like a thing. I love.
I feel like the whole post rock wave that came out of Chicago, very much rooted in jazz.
Oh, for sure. Oh, well, I mean something like Tortoise and Jeff Parker.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean that like coming up like. I mean, back when Jeff Parker lived in town, they did this thing up at Rodan on Tuesday nights that was amazing with like great projections. I don't know if you remember that club in Wicker Park, Rodan, but we would go up and see him, and it was just like whoa. And at that time, just because you mentioned it, like at that time I was listening to a lot of Tortoise, especially like Standards, like that album was.
Oh my god, yeah,
man, it's so great. And you will find Dan Bittney and like the bass player Doug McCombs, like they're all over like the improv and experimental music scene. You'll just be like, like I saw, like there's this band I really like, Black Duck, which is so Charles Rumback, the drummer from the record, and then it's the guitar player Bill McKay, amazing, and Doug from Tortoise, and they, I've seen them a few times. Rainbow Club, Hungry Brain, they're fantastic. So yeah, you'll find those people all over the scene. But that's a tangent.
But back to you and finding your way through this.
Oh, yeah. So, like, I was playing in the indie scene, and then, I met this this great bass player named Tatsuya Yogi, who became, like, a mentor of mine and kind of introduced me to creative music, experimental music in Chicago. And then I started, like, learning all about, like, I started to meet some people from AACM, Association for the Advancement of Creative Musicians, and play with some of those older people. And I was like, whoa. So then, from there, I started meeting more improvisers, and then writing, for about 5-6 years ago, I was like, okay, I think I might start writing music. And so that's kind of how it came to where it is now. And now I would say it's kind of, I think of it as fitting in. It's like jazz adjacent, very groove oriented. And for people that are into like world or global music, we bring a lot of those different sounds. So
I think it sounds so cool. And like I said at the onset of our conversation, you've created your own lane.
Well, I can think of other people in that. I mean, some of those reviews, are funny in the artists that they mention, because sometimes it's like I've listened to them, and then sometimes it's like, wait, I haven't really, But of course, I'm Mukhtar. I mean, and like I don't know, do you like Tunarawen? Do you ever check them out? They're cool. They're on Nonesuch, that label. Anyways, they're cool. It's a Malian thing. I draw a lot from that school of guitar, the big heavy guy in that world, Ali Farka Touré from the 70s and 80s. He made a record with Ry Cooder that's really good if you're trying to get into him, Talking Timbuktu. But I got really into that because it's kind of like, it's like not shredding. Like growing up playing guitar is like a lot of like, there's blues guitar that you learn, and then there's all this like shredding and speed stuff. And then I like took a hard left in the other direction in my 20s, like away from that. Not that it's bad. And in fact, in teaching, we touch on a lot of that. There's a lot of that vocabulary in my teaching studio. But in my compositions, I just kind of was like, yeah, let me not, for whatever reason, go another direction. So.
And you, like I said, you are a teacher. You teach guitar. I've looked at the stuff you've posted on TikTok. This isn't a 101 entry level stuff. This is the AP class
for the heads. Yeah. It's for the heads. I mean, that's what I teach. My studio, like the practice at the studio is it's all adults, intermediate guitar players doing small group sessions where we improvise and like play songs. So that's pretty much who I teach. I mean, of course, I love teaching beginners, but I don't teach as many beginners because the thing is, if you want to learn as a beginner, YouTube University, man. I think you get 1 or 2 lessons in person with a teacher, but otherwise, the first 6 months to a year of sucking and painful sucking a guitar, like you can do that on your own and break through. And almost all my students who've come into the studio like have gone through that on their own, and they come in and they're
sense.
like, they're like, I can play.
Sense.
What should I do?
So during the pandemic, I thought, I've never played an instrument. I got myself an acoustic guitar, and instead of YouTube University, I went to Fender University.
Oh, for sure. Fender Play. Yeah, that's great. It's a good program.
It was a great diversion for the year and a half I did, and I tried to do at least 5 minutes a day. That was what I told myself. And then I just got to the point once the world kind of reset and I had less free time. I'm like, I'm still not that good. I'm going to leave the guitar in the corner. Maybe I'll come back to it. Is it harder for adults to pick up the guitar?
Well, I think because of neuroplasticity, like it's harder for adults to learn anything. Like younger kids have higher level of neuroplasticity, so it's easier for them to like pick up new things and adopt them. I also think one of the things that gets in the way of adults learning guitar is like a high degree of self-consciousness. Like as we become adults, like I think about like I've been learning how to play golf and last few years, like getting out on the golf, I'm so bad. But I go, this year I golfed like 12 or 13 times in the year, so that's pretty good for a beginner, right? And it's the same thing though, like it's the self-consciousness of like, I suck at this, and I'm not used to sucking because like I'm an adult and I have the things I'm good at, but I
have to be good at work. I have to be good at home. Like I suck at this. I got to take this out of the equation.
And the thing about it is, if you can just ignore that entire thing completely and just do the thing, it goes way better because like people get in there. That's one thing I've noticed about teaching. Like a lot of it is just helping people get out of their own way and do the thing that like maybe they already have in them, but it's kind of covered up and they get in their own way. And a lot of it is just like kind of clearing that off and letting that shine through.
Get out of their own way. That's life advice.
You know,
that goes far beyond the guitar.
For sure.
Is it harder to learn on an acoustic?
It is, yeah.
I wasn't trying to make excuses for myself, but I thought if I had an electric, maybe this would be a little bit easier. Like even making an F chord, which was the bane of my existence as I was trying to learn that.
Oh yeah, I mean it's so funny. I mean, not to get into the inside baseball here, but you know my philosophy on that is that there are certain things in the kind of quote-unquote beginner guitar repertoire that are really physically difficult because guitar sucks in that way. Like it's so physically hard to play to make a sound compared to like piano or whatever. And so I try to help students kind of avoid those for as long as possible, right? And then like one day you get there. Anyways, acoustic's harder to play. So.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Robert's Westside. It is
man.
7321 Madison in Forest Park. March 15th.
Oh, I'm
What's
excited
going on?
about this. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I'm excited for this one. So we're doing a global music night there. So my band is playing, and then also there will be a band called Paraguas y Piropos. They're really wonderful. They're a trio. And they do like Hibaro, like Puerto Rican folk music, but it's very much combined with jazz. So like if you're into jazz and you're into any kind of Latin music style, like you would dig them. And then of course we do our thing, which is kind of a world jazz type of vibe, and it's gonna be fun, man. We'll be starting around 8:00, and it's going to be a good time. Roberts is cool. It's a new club, so like I got hip to it because it's kind of near where I live, and they do this monthly jam session up there on Tuesday nights, and I've been going down like every first Tuesday. And then you see a good thing happening because at first it's like, okay, what's going on here? See some people. By the third or fourth time you're down there, you start to see some of the cats where you know them from the city, maybe from the jam session. Oh, I play with this bass player Jay. He's really great. We start talking. We realize, oh man, he went on tour for one tour with the guy who I share my studio with. So all those connections happen. I feel like they got a really good like music vibe going in this new spot, Robert's Westside.
It is crazy how connected everybody is.
Yeah.
If you don't know someone now, you will.
Exactly.
The scene. It's just the way it works.
Exactly.
Well, I think what you're doing is super cool, Rami. And
thanks, man.
Thanks for choking down half a hot dog in what may be record time on this podcast. And then on Bandcamp, it is ramiatassi.bandcamp.com, and we'll keep seeing and listening and supporting.
All right. Thanks so much, James. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure.
And I love those sport peppers, man.
They make the dog.
I get down with
They
that
make the dog.
sure.
I haven't even had mine yet.
Yeah, you gotta have yours, man.
And as we head into the sunset, typical of a cowboy.
Oh yeah.
Don't forget, American Lung Association, the first of the Fight for Air climbs happening at Oakbrook Terrace Tower, Sunday, March 10th. I will be there. If you would like to participate, if you'd like to contribute or be part of the team, fightforairclimb.org/Chicagoland. Rami, thank you.
Thank you so much.